because of all of the buzz and social media talk about unauthorized and unapproved third-party vendors getting access to the Dentrix software, I wanted to just put out a public broadcast, a PSA about all of this. Now, I'm not going to get into all of the specifics because by the time this goes live, things might have changed. So I'm not going to call out any one specific vendor because I want to try and keep it generic. And I want to try and help you understand what all of this means and what is an unauthorized vendor and what isn't, and why should I care, and why does it matter to me? And because the vendors that are able to work with the Dentrix software, that could change from day to day. I just don't know like who they might be signing up today and who might not be signed up today. So I'm not going to go into like all the specifics about who's in, who's out. I will point you directly to the authorized vendor page for Henry Schein One. So that page gets updated by them directly. What I want to do today is help you to just understand what it means exactly with kind of a little analogy. So what I want you to think about is, let's say, okay, I own my home. Okay. I live in my home, and let's say that there is a person that comes in, and jumps my fence and goes into my backyard and busts in, breaks my back window, crawls in through the back window into my house, with an empty bag, and they start rummaging through my refrigerator and rummaging through my pantry, and they steal a bunch of my food, and they leave, they jump back out the back door, out the back window that they broke the back window, they jump back out the back window and leave and steal all of my food. And then maybe there might be some food that maybe they really didn't want. So they throw it back into the house, and so, they're doing this through the back window, and they're doing it illegally, right? They're breaking into my house and stealing my food, not giving me any money and leaving me some crumbs. And then the next day they come back and they do it all again. Okay. And so this happens every single day. They break into my house, they steal my food, and then they leave, and then they come back and they do it all over again. Now, what's going to happen eventually with this routine is eventually I'm going to call the cops. Okay. I'm going to call the cops, and I'm going to have this person arrested and put in jail. Okay. Because they are breaking into my house illegally. Now, what if I went up to this person and I said, you know what? It really seems like you really want my food. Like, you must really like my, scrambled eggs that I have in my fridge, or, it seems like you really like my protein bars that I have in my pantry. So what if we were able to come to an agreement where I actually give you a key to my house, and you are able to come in the front door without bashing in my window every day. And then you can walk in with a key, you can come in through the front door, and then, you can look through my fridge and my pantry and take whatever you want because I give you permission. And with that permission, I'm also going to ask you for, pay me something. So you're going to pay me a monthly retainer for walking in my door every day, going into my refrigerator, and taking whatever food you want. And maybe you leave me something nice, so we have this mutual respect, this mutual relationship together. We also have this agreement on the monetary value of what my food is worth to you. And so we come to an agreement. And what that means is that you can come and go as you please. You can take what you want, and you're not going to get arrested and go to jail. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. So An unauthorized vendor is breaking in the back window, getting into your Dentrix software through a unsecured and unauthorized pathway and extracting patient data out of your Dentrix software and then writing back data into your Dentrix software in an unsecured pathway. And so what could happen is the Henry Schein police, the Henry Schein 1 police, could cut that off. They could be the police and cut off that unauthorized access into your Dentrix software. Okay, so what this vendor could do is they could go to Henry Schein 1, and Henry Schein 1 could go to that vendor and say, hey, it really looks like you want this data out of the Dentrix software, and it looks like you want to be able to replenish our data with some new information, maybe from the forms or from a payment link or some whatever that is, or sending claims. Okay, so we see that you are taking data out of the Dentrix software, and we also see that you're putting data back into the Dentrix software, but we really want you to stop breaking in the back window, and we really want to give you a key to the kingdom. Okay, so here's a key to the kingdom. Here's the agreement, and we would really like for you to pay us per office for all the offices that you're extraction and write back with. Okay, so we can come to an agreement on that. We can come to an agreement so that we don't act like the police and arrest you and stop your extraction and write back of data. We're going to give you a key so you can walk in the front door and take the data that you need and write back brand new data. We're just going to give you a secure and a better pathway, a much more pleasant pathway in order to do that. What do you say? Don't you think that would work better? Don't you think that would work better? I do, because then I know that my dental practices and my patient data is going through a secure pathway. I can't guarantee a secure pathway with other third-party vendors. So we know that everything revolves around your practice management software. Your practice management software is Grand Central Station. Everything comes and goes through that practice management software. So if we have another vendor software that's going through another vendor software and then going into Dentrix, then there could be a misstep. There could be a wrong turn with getting into the Dentrix software because the patient data is then being transferred through multiple channels. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. I hope my analogy helped make sense. So here's what we can do. What I can do is to provide you with information like this. Now, what you'll find in the show notes is links to the Henry Schein 1 API, the vendor application page, the frequently asked questions page, and also who the approved vendors are. There are over 140 approved vendors on that list, which are already have keys to the house, keys to the door, and they're already walking through the front door. So those vendors are approved and authorized. So I would look through that list. If you are thinking about changing a patient engagement or a payment, an RCM company or claims company or something like that, to where you want to be working with approved API vendors, then look at that list. If you want to talk to me personally and I can give you some advice, then book a call with me. My scheduling call link is also in the show notes here. Okay, so what can you do? If you are in love with your third-party vendor for patient engagement, please continue to reach out to them and say, hey, why are you not using the Dentrix API? Why are you not on this list? And they will probably give you an answer that says something like, well, we're using a secure pathway through this other channel. Okay. And then my next question would be, great. Now that other third-party channel, are they on the approved API list? Okay. That would be my next question. And if they're not, you've got two third-party vendors that are not on the list. So then the stakes are even higher for security with your patient data. You have a responsibility to protect your patient data. And so we have to make sure that the dental practice, we are ultimately accountable and responsible for protecting that patient data. And so it's important that we take security very seriously when third-party vendors are extracting data and writing back data into our PMS software. So that would be the questions I would ask your vendor. So what would it take for you to get into the API program with Henry Schein One? Because then there's just a single pathway between your Dentrix data and your third-party vendor. There's this one secure pathway. You're not jumping from pathway to pathway. So we want to make sure that there's just this one single channel. Okay, what other questions can you ask? I think that another thing you could ask would be, what would it take for you to get on that? Because security is very important to us. What would it take for you to get on that list? And so that's what we can do. Now, if your third-party vendor says, these are the reasons why we decide not to get on the Henry Schein One API program, and you're okay with that, that's your choice as well. Okay. You have a choice to choose whatever vendor you want. Okay. Now, with those choices could come consequences. So I just also want to just pose that the Dentrix software is actively, putting in security updates constantly, just like Microsoft Windows is doing a security update. They're discontinuing of Windows 10 as a security update. So we are having to make some significant changes in our software to upgrade to Windows 11. Dentrix makes security updates all the time. Anytime you're using any kind of software, it is constantly doing security updates. And so what could happen is if you choose to work with an unauthorized or unapproved vendor, it's very possible that the Henry Schein One security police could shut down that pathway. And that's a choice that you have to make. So I just want to let you know that if that happens, please reach out and I can help you kind of navigate where to go from there. So I hope this has been helpful. Please click on the links in this blog so you can be as an informed office as possible. All right. That's what I'm here for. Okay, my friends, have a great rest of your day. If you're commuting, drive safe. And I look forward to watching your journey of becoming a high-performing dental team.